I have Dr. Staci A. Smith with me today, who is a life coach and an educator and very well versed in the inner child work that Black women can do to help to, well, I'm going to ask her what it helps with.
Hi, Wynn. Thank you for having me. It helps you get your voice back as a woman, that little girl who never got a chance to speak up. For me, it was having been bullied. I carried a heavy weight of rejection. And as I've done this work, I was angry. And I realized my 7-year-old was running my life. And that anger and that rejection built up in my body to the point that my body actually rejected my kidneys as if they were foreign organisms. I say that on the other side, where 18 years later, I had a transplant. So it's not just the surface, but it affects us down to our very cells.
Yeah, as a psychotherapist, I talk about mind, body, spirit connection. It's not just
There
one or any of it. Yeah, tell me about what would happen when you'd come home after being bullied. Who did you live with?
I came home to my parents. There was a day first when I was 7, and I was on the playground, the primary playground. They separated the older kids from the younger kids, and these 3 boys, and I was the only Black child in school. So there's that. And these 3 boys just saw me all of a sudden for the first time and started yelling and cussing. And it just felt like the true monster story where everything was just bigger than life. And there I was looking up, wondering, what did I do to you? Mm-hmm. I was minding my business, playing happily, probably by myself, but I was content. So when I went home and told that story, I don't remember the details, but I remember us moving. And then I went to another school where I could go to school with children that looked like me. Well, the bullying from them came because we lived in different neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. So they got bused to the school that I walked across the street to. Okay. So then there was a whole nother layer of, oh, you're a Black girl on the outside and white on the inside.
That whole thing. Yeah, exactly. And when you got home that day, I'm assuming you were scared when you got home.
I was terrified.
Yeah. What did your mom say to you?
I wish I remembered. What I've gone back to was, in my mind after that, there was this whole story. Like, my mother had that school closed down.
Well, you all left, so she had your back for sure.
She did. Mm-hmm. On the one-to-one level. I knew she was going to fight for me with the outside world. And I don't know even if I knew how to ask for what I needed.
Probably not.
I learned that recently. And I wanted to just be hugged.
Yeah. And
told it was okay, that I was okay.
And you're saying that it's only been recently that you have realized that that little girl is still with you. Tell me about that process.
I started looking for her at 52 because I was angry. Mm-hmm. In church, going through all these spiritual growth trainings and classes, but I was still angry. I mean, in my mind, I wanted to cuss. I was just like, woo, that's the only way to get this feeling out.
Right.
I fought in junior high school. I was just the crazy person that nobody would fight in high school because I just had that rage that it didn't take anything to like the match. Mm-hmm. So the journey began with just curiosity. Why am I like this? What does this come from? And it took me back to the 7-year-old because the feeling was shock, confusion, and then it became anger, which simmered and became rage.
How did you learn to acknowledge and think about anger and something you wanted to change?
It didn't come up in those clean, clear words. And intentionally, I was angry. After a while, that was my identity in high school and even in college. I remember, I tell this story. I wanted to pledge because I said, if they hit me, I'm gonna hit them back. All that hazing and stuff. So I knew that still was in me, wanting to defend and protect myself.
Mm-hmm.
And in relationships, people saw my heart and knew I was nice and sweet on the inside, but I could be short and snippy.
Don't test me.
Don't test me, don't cross me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her.
Yeah.
She got a name.
So now you work with women about their inner little girl, inner child, and helping to access that person on the inside. What do you do with that when you've accessed it with someone else?
Well, first some people can't find her.
I wondered about that.
That's a challenge.
Mhm.
And the conversation is often she's hiding for a reason. And just like a kitten that's hiding under the couch, you have to gently coax her out and let her know she's safe. She hid because she didn't feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
The behaviors, the mindsets come because they want to feel safe and loved.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm sure you know that. So getting them to remember even the smallest thing. What was her favorite Saturday cartoon or her favorite cereal, or the small things that helps them remember her before she went into hiding, if there was a time.
I,
And she gets to come out.
Mhm.
Then it's let her know she's safe, hear her, talk to her, honor her. Because whatever she did to take care of you.
Now they get to you, your clients, and I'm just wondering, she's nuts. There's nobody living in me. This is all crazy. How do you convince them that this is an important piece of work to do?
I'm talking to people who already know there's a need. They may not be able to name it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been blessed to create a little girl archetype quiz, little girl games, with the notion that the actions and games that we did as little girls carry over. For example, if you always took care of everyone else,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the circumstances that led to that, and you're tired. Today, you're worn out, you're frustrated, you might be a little resentful because everybody wants you to take care of them. That you know today.
Yep.
Just like my anger, I knew today, but I didn't know what it came from. So I really appeal to how can you take better care of yourself? Are you ashamed to say, hey, I need a day to rest? The guilt that women carry for having self-care, for taking and making time for herself. So the appeal comes from where are you right now? Because the woman you are today was shaped by the little girl that
Right.
stood up for you, that stood in the gap for you when she needed to.
Mm-hmm. I had a question for you. I have several. Um, I'm really about history. I love to think about our mothers and our grandmothers and
Mm,
what they went through. And I
yeah.
wondered, did you have a relationship with your grandmother on your mother's side?
She passed when I was 7, that same age, and I wanted to go to her funeral, but the family decided I was too young. And my memories of her were she 12 kids, no twins. Let me start with that. She could cook. She had the best hugs. I just remember the sense of safety that I had around her,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't get to really know her. I knew my dad's mom through life, and she
Okay.
was the grandmother that we saw regularly.
What did you learn from her?
I saw the flip side. I saw her be so much less than she was capable of. Very, very bright. Out of, I'll say, self preservation. She went into a self preservation mode
Sure.
and kind of shut down her potential.
And so we're talking, she was born in the early 1900s, your grandmother,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
think about all they went through just to survive,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
It's so, I feel so honored to talk about them because of no wonder she shut down. The world was
Right.
telling her to shut down, right? And
Exactly.
what you were saying before about um, looking for the little girl and how, and I don't know if you predominantly work with Black women, but Black women over 50 are tired because
Right.
we have been taking care of everybody and their brother for 100 years,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Um,
Right.
so the idea of looking for someone in yourself that um, is really tender and vulnerable has to feel good to the women that you work with, I would think. Um,
It's it's teaching them to coax her to say sweet things to her.
I love it.
And
I
I
love
love that
it. Hmm.
because she recognizes her little girl didn't hear enough sweet things
Right, right.
and how much that was needed. And women of all ethnicities that I'm seeing, there's still that part of I didn't feel loved.
Hmm. Sure.
I didn't get what I needed, and how it shows up in different ways. As Black women, we often still don't get what we need
Well,
because
yeah,
we carry that superwoman cape identity. I don't need no man. Spaces where if there was a man, we just repelled him.
hmm,
Unknowingly, unintentionally, that is not the desire of our heart.
we know how to be
We
strong.
we know how to be strong, and we don't want to be disappointed again,
Yeah,
and
and
again.
we could go on forever about communication between Black men and Black women, but we'll save
Yes.
that for another time. Tell me what kinds of things you suggest to someone new to your work that's kind of not overwhelming and just sort of lends to easing into the process of looking for your little girl.
First, acknowledging, and it's funny because I'm doing a challenge in the first step in just 5 days to just say, she's still there and she's waiting for you to come find her. Because the disconnect is so pervasive that because we've stepped away and had to be strong and had to be tough, that we thought she was gone.
Right.
To just breathe for a moment to say, actually, she's not gone. And she's patiently waiting for you to come let her know that you remember her or you want to remember her.
Right. Right.
Not just the bad things that happened that made her hide, but her. Because she wants to be seen and heard and loved. And
Yeah.
you can do that for her. It doesn't
Right.
have to come from anybody else.
That's it. And what I tell my clients is our parents did the best they could with what they got, and their parents didn't know how to do it. So we're learning, and we got good
Exactly.
things, challenging things from where we came from. And now we get to integrate them with the inner child, you're saying, that is making us who we are, a softer person, because we can now. We don't have to take care of a bunch of other people. Um,
Yes,
we can look inside. Is that
that's
right?
it.
Mm-hmm,
Exactly. To know that is already there.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Right.
To just take off the hard shell
And
and know that it's
being,
right there.
being vulnerable is not something that we do on the regular. I mean, it's really difficult when you're surrounded by people who think you have to be the end, the hard stop, all the answers, all of that. How do you coax out vulnerability in your clients?
Honestly, I say the most courageous conversation you need to have is first with yourself and then with God. Because he already knows and you get to speak the unspoken that you already know that you've pushed back down to the side and into your organs
Mm-hmm,
because it's where they go.
mm-hmm, right. Your body holds it all. I was wondering, I was getting ready to ask you about spirituality and how that plays into the work that you're doing with people,
Yes.
that still small voice that we have, and learning to acknowledge it and honor it at the
Yes.
same time. Does that?
And to me, those things that get highlighted by that still small voice are the things that we can surrender in prayer. Help
Mm,
me see this, take care of this. I'm not broken, so we don't have to fix our little girl.
right, right.
But I need another way to see this and to respond to this and to trust
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that I don't have to do everything. That's a heavy burden. That's why we're tired.
whole angry black woman stereotype. Well, you'd be angry too if you've been doing all for
That
50
part.
years, right? I mean, I
Yes.
always dislike that term,
Right.
when in reality,
Because
if
it's
there's someone soft under there, it's just if you bother to look, you'll find her.
it makes us so one dimensional. If
Yeah,
we weren't in need of def- the feeling of needing to defend ourselves all the time from everybody, we wouldn't show you the angry side
right, right.
and the small range of emotions we get to express. If you're
Right.
not smiling, even black people will be like, "You look so mean. Why are you not smiling?" Well, if I walked around grinning like a Cheshire cat, you'd think I was crazy. Can't just walk around cheesing all the time. I'm blind.
It looks nuts. Absolutely, absolutely. Did you grow up in the church?
Yes, but my walk deepened when I got out of college, and was and I always felt like there's something more, there's something else than what I saw growing up,
Mm-hmm.
and because of my hunger, I think it just expanded for me, and but that was really part of the anchor, and that was really the precipice for the journey to begin. That I know, God, you did not make me like this, and you don't want me to walk around being angry, full of rage.
What was the catalyst when you were in college? Do you remember?
It was after college. I moved out on my own. I was across the country from my family, and somebody invited me, and that soft spot was there. Again, that hunger. There was always more. I was like, I know there's more. There's more to God than church shows anybody, anyway, in my opinion. People have
Absolutely.
manipulated it. That's why we have denominations and all those things.
Yeah.
But I just had a hunger for something more, for the supernatural that is in God.
Tell me about your belief in God and how people think about God in all kinds of different ways. And I respect all of them. I want to know about your belief and where God is in your world.
God is the creator of the universe. So when I look at the color of the blue sky, I say, "Oh, that's God." When a bird flies by, I say, "Oh, that's God." When my heart beats, and I of course don't know it, but when I take a breath, "Oh, that's God."
Hmm.
So my heart's desire is to be immersive in seeing God in everything, even when we see things that don't make sense.
Hmm.
I see God as outside of time. So what I see right now, time is just a blip and a construct that we make to make things make sense. So that gives me some peace. When I was going through the whole thing with my kidneys, it was 13 years from the time I got my diagnosis till I had the transplant. And all I could say was, "Lord, I trust you," because somebody prayed for me and I heard the healing is done. It might not look like it right away, but the healing is done.
It took that long to find a match.
It wasn't even that. Um, it, it was a year from the time the donor contacted me and we had the surgery. Just little, actually not even a whole year, about 7 months. But I went on all kind of health journeys. I was vegan, and I did dialysis for 5 of those years.
Hmm.
And I did the kind you could do at home,
Hmm.
but it wasn't time yet. I had a doctor that wanted me to have a transplant right away, and I got fired from a doctor at Stanford University because I didn't do what he said. Like, my kidneys still work. Why would I get a transplant? And he couldn't answer me. I was one of those patients that they have to make it make sense. I know you went to school for this, but make it make sense to me.
Absolutely. Yes.
And he was not having it. So I
Next.
got fired.
Exactly. And did this happen during the time that you renewed your spiritual beliefs when you were having trouble
Nope, it
with your
was way
kidneys?
after, decades after.
So you were
A
already
full
gone.
decade when it started, and 2 decades when I had the transplant.
Okay. So you were already immersed in your faith by the
Yes,
time. Okay. That's, oh,
yes,
thank goodness, right?
yes.
Yeah.
That helped. That carried me through. I said, Lord, I trust you many a day when things didn't feel right. And for the most part, I was healthy. Because I didn't have any other medical issues except I had high blood pressure at 17, which is a direct correlate connected to the kidneys. So there could be that.
In terms of your little girl inside and the medical issues you were going through, tell me how it was helpful to think about her.
I didn't know her yet. I hadn't started looking for her yet. So she was not part of it. It was just go along to get along in survival mode. It was faith. Like, God, I believe what you said about the healing, but the little girl was not there at all. The little girl didn't come out, or the search for her, till 10 years after the transplant.
Okay. And you may have said this before, but forgive me. What was it that made the search start for the little girl?
Trying to figure out why I was so angry. Why I still carried the rage. Again, all those decades of faith and still angry. I knew there was a disconnect in the reality that I was living, in that reality that I professed in my faith. Those two were diametrically opposed.
Right.
So I knew something in me was still unsettled and not experiencing the true peace that I believe God promises me.
Yeah. What is the most difficult part of your work?
Funny you say that. Well, I feel like I'm in that now with a couple of people. And it is stopping the search, giving up on the journey. It's a journey and it's baby steps. And in my No More Lies guided workbook, and I do a workshop to guide people through the workbook, because it gets to be overwhelming for some people in doing it on their own. And I see that people get stuck in being able to name the lies and feeling, but it's different for me. That it's kind of the feeling that I think they have. Everybody has to process what that little girl experience was. There's a lot of shame that is carried with it. And if they can't get past that, they can't move to the next part of it. The next part of it is you loving her. If you didn't feel loved as a little girl, if you weren't listened to, if your body was violated and people didn't protect you, that's how you show up. How do you get back to telling her she was okay, that she was safe?
It wasn't her fault.
And it was not her fault. She didn't do anything wrong. And a lot of times, if the family secrets, the inability to talk about things, people were told to be quiet. If you've seen any of my episodes, people were told, no, don't talk. We don't talk about that.
Yep.
Knowing that what they were saying had actually happened for generations, even potentially.
Yep. Yeah.
So the inability to want to connect to that identity, or the fear, the doubt, the hesitation, the uncertainty. A lot of times it's from when people have kept the world at bay, people away from them, that it makes it hard to go find their little girl.
Absolutely.
Because it's a trust factor all the way around.
Absolutely. Once again, history, taking me back to when you were home before college. What are some of the things you took from your mother now as pieces of information that probably felt bad at the time, but have been, something that you're using now? What did you get from your mom?
My mom still plays. My mom always played. My mom was fun because we played with her. And she is at 92, artistic and playful in her. We made candles for parties and stood around with just. So my mom showed me how to play. My mom probably played more than I did when I was her age, commensurately. And that was a huge example, the things of being able to talk about things. I always had an extra dose of emotions. And
In you from her, or are you talking about an extra dose of emotions
well,
that you felt?
in me to her,
Okay.
I used to have to write letters because I couldn't articulate the words well enough because I had so much emotion around it that I always got the line, it's not what you say, but how you say it,
Mm-hmm.
because the emotion took over. It might not have been a big thing to say, but that the emotion was intense. And again, that emotion was anger a lot of times. So there was a lot of sass and whatnot that came out of it.
You mean you didn't have AI to write it for you?
No AI.
Had to dig into yourself. Oh my goodness, that must have been horrible.
I had to do the ancestral intelligence, which hadn't learned that yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And your mom had a lot of 7-year-old energy in her. Did you get any of that from your paternal grandmother at all?
No. So that quick. No, Grandma Ann was very serious. Um, Again, very witty. And as she got older, we actually, were got to be friends.
Mm, sure.
And that was a blessing for me, just to be able to chat with her. And she was this whole new person.
Yeah.
And I had no idea as little girl to grandma who she was. But as I grew up and connected with her, it was very different.
Well,
My mom was also a pioneer, fearless. And things that she went through in her life that should have made her afraid did not have that effect.
you talk about your grandmother and your mom?
My mother was fearless. My grandmother was she took the different route, but again, that was my dad's mom.
Well, and sound like she did like a lot of people, just tucked it in.
Yeah.
And I'm here,
Yep.
I'm going to survive, I'm going to do the work, I'm going to raise my family, and boom, that's it.
She
You
could
know,
answer the questions on Jeopardy.
right?
She was smart like that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And in terms of what we get from our mothers and the things that they went through in order for
Right.
us to sit up in here and talk about our feelings, is right. It's just it's amazing when I think about how much just how much they had to go through, and I wish I'd had the wherewithal or to think about asking them questions, but that's just
Right.
part of youth, you know.
Yes, yes. Well, and even thinking it was important. We have the
Right,
luxury of time that they didn't
right,
have.
right, exactly, exactly. Just the whole through the whole civil rights movement, women's movement. Was your
Right.
mother involved in those kinds of things as well?
She was more not as a collective as much as I remember her telling me recently, because this journey for me has opened up conversations with her.
Uh-huh.
And there were 5 Black students in her high school, and they always used to sit up in the balcony at the assemblies. And one day she decided she wanted to go sit where everybody else was. Right. And
Good on
the other
her.
Black kids looked at her like, who do you think you are? What are you doing? And one by one, she said they moved. They started sitting down there too. I don't even know if it was with her, but she just was a barrier breaker. And that's what I want to do. So I'm doing it.
Yeah, she modeled that very well for you.
Yes.
Getting
So
to the
I'm pretty fearless when it comes to doing new things, the kind of travel and things that I've done. I do things my friends, I've zip lined a few times, and just the things that my friends are like, girl, you're 62. What are you doing?
well, you got my respect because even at 32, I wasn't doing no zip line. Good on you. Yeah, yeah. Being fearless is something that comes later in life a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you're owning that in a great way. Are the people that you talk to north of 50, a lot of them, or younger?
I'm mostly older. 50 seemed like a breaking point for a lot of women to say, okay, I'm 50 now. Let's do life differently.
Yep.
The few that I've talked to that are younger, it's interesting because I see the value in talking to younger women, but the conversation is slightly different.
Yeah.
The decades of masks, the decades of beliefs and patterns looks different when there's five of them versus three of them.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And it's so funny to think about how old I feel when I talk to somebody who was born in the 21st century. And and the things that they're second nature to them. I'm like, what? Say it
Yes.
again.
Right. All this tech stuff and everything in this world that we've entered.
And there's an appreciation to talk to someone who's north of 50 because, oh yeah, I remember that, kind of thing is very nice.
Right. It is. It's very, very different. And I used to tease them and say, we used to bake a potato in the oven and it took an hour. Because working in school, I would mess with the kids about stuff like that all the time. And when somebody called and the line was busy, you just had to hang up and call back. Before call waiting.
I was talking to a young woman and I said, do you know what I mean when I say cart before the horse? No. Like, okay. So I had to break that down. It's just funny. I suppose our parents are saying the same thing about their kid,
Right.
It's interesting to be on this side of it.
It is.
Right.
That is so true.
What is the most exciting part of working with women and their inner child?
When they say, I never thought of it that way. Or I found my little girl. And that they learn to play with her, to see them kind of relax. Yeah. I did a workshop with some women and we colored for 20 minutes and they were so sweet and cute. And we're talking ladies up into their 70s. I think one of the ladies was 80, in her 80s. And the room was calm and they were so at peace. And to know that is what we need every day. Yes. We need that kind of release and relief from carrying the world on our shoulders. In community doing it is all the more important.
Self-nurturance. And I think even before COVID, to me, in my life, there was a whole disconnect between other Black women here in Los Angeles. I mean, everybody got their own story. It's just part of the reason why I want to do this podcast is to connect. Connection is a part of who we are. And even if it's through the internet, I think it's important to find out other people's stories because so many of us have very varying and very similar stories of how we grew up. And I'm listening to you talking like, yep.
I think the tale, the myth, the lie of isolation is what keeps us spinning. Because we think it's just us. Right. We don't think anybody else has gone through what we've gone through or nobody would understand. So I just keep it to myself.
Right. And because that's what we were taught. That's what you do. You suck it up. And
then there's that. Yeah. That's a whole nother level. What happens in this house stays in this house. That has cost people so much. Even if a lot of times those messages were covering things that needed to be exposed.
Well, yes, exactly. And we're learning that now just as a people and as a culture. Thank heaven,
Yes.
Well, Dr. Staci, do you have any closing thoughts that you'd like to share with my audience about the importance of reaching in and looking for your inner little girl?
I'll say it again. She's there. She's been there. She did not leave you, ladies. She's waiting for you to come back and bring her out to play. Give her that big hug, literally to hug yourself and let her know that you got her. You got this now. She doesn't have to be responsible for everything. She's safe and she's loved. And to do that takes some stillness, some honesty. Look yourself in the mirror, pray, journal, and let those things that are buried deep inside of you under the decades of masks come out. Mm-hmm. Give her the voice that she's had. Write letters to her. There's a number of things that are the activities that I do within my workshops, mm-hmm. and it's huge to just bit by bit know that it takes time for her to come out, because it took time for her to go into hiding, and all the years of you carrying what she believed was right. She was a little girl and she said, I see this in life and this is the solution. And never once, if you haven't gone back to question whether that is still true for you today. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So trust her and listen to her and love on her.
She knows what's going on. You have a wonderful YouTube channel, Staci Speaks Hope. Yes. Tell me where else my audience can find you.
I am on Instagram and Facebook and the other audio podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, and wherever else they send it to.
I know, I hear you. Yeah, everywhere. Thank you so much for being a guest. I really appreciate it.
And of course, I have a website, Staci Speaks Hope, as well.
See, now you got to remember all of them.
I know.
All right.
Because that's where you can buy the book, No More Lies workbook, and mm-hmm. you can take the quiz to find out what patterns your little girl will show you through the kind of games and connections to how you show up today to what she really needs.
And you said earlier you have workshops that you do periodically?
And yes, I do the workshops in conjunction with the workbook. So I'll be launching one in the next few months, and those will be an ongoing cycle. Mm-hmm. And I have a challenge coming up, and those will be ongoing. So
very good.
This has grown and expanded just because seeing the need and meeting the women in spaces that say, hey, come hold my hand. I can't do this by myself.
That's it. Once again, connection.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.